Hello there, YouTube. I think this is part 5. I'm really not sure. It's got to be. It'll say it on the description. We're done. This is the back. This switch is going to be, when I'm done, I just didn't want to spend the time with it. I need to get a battery first, then I'll be more motivated. This is going to be if I have to use a battery to power myself, I can run it through here. This has 12 volts coming out. Okay? But if I run it backwards, I can put 12 volts to whatever's up in the front of the power supply. But you have to disconnect the power supply hot because you don't want it backfeeding through there. That's what this switch will do. It's called a dual pull, dual throw. Well, all it does is either switches from the middle. It'll either go to the top or the bottom, and it's doubled on either side. That's all it means. You look it up. Whatever way you flip it, it picks what it wants. Okay, here's my antenna ground. This is not a ground for electricity or anything. It's just to ground my antennas to the grounding rod. I ground my electricity through the house wiring, shed wiring. Okay. This switch is for the fan to turn it on and off, just in case I want to turn it off. And this is the adjustment. It's called like a rheostat. It's pretty big. So I can turn the fan way down. Wide open. And I have the voltage set about 14 volts. I got it cranked up on the front. So this fan will probably run a little bit slower. Here's your AC fuse, AC line coming in. Okay. Here's your speakers. I want to make this simple so I can just grab any kind of wire from any kind of radio and just hook it hot and negative. And I use this little piece. I had to cut a hole out through the metal where this block mounted, because if you put too long of screws in here, because I had lost one screw, it hit the cabinet. So I spent the time to chop this all out behind here, cover it up, seal it and insulate it, so these screws could never touch anything. Because this is ground. They got 4 here to hold to the case. But I did modify this. So if somebody didn't know and they put too long a screw, well, they'd had a problem. This is out of a computer power supply. This has a couple like orange ceramic capacitors, has like a white block thing. I can't tell you what it is. I know it's some kind of filter. This will help filter your power coming in. If you looked at the old computers, had that little power supply when you gutted out the computer and had that small power supply with a fan on it, you found a lot of these, 3-prong cord. So now we're grounded, because the power supply wasn't grounded before, and on this there comes a ground wire that goes right back to here. So it's grounded to here, then grounded to the cabinet, so we're all safe. They should not make those power supplies not grounded. You get fried on them. I've had problems with them before where I touched the voltmeter to the case and got voltage. And my other video showed the inside. I did get my protection diode up in the front. It's still shining red. Even though it's over the holders or that red jeweled pilot lamp, it's clear enough diode you can see the light shining through it backwards right in there. It does work. I have shorted over a couple times, just real quickly shorted over, because I don't want to hurt the power supply, to make sure it lights up. There's another one for power that I never had hooked up in the other case. It is hooked up inside here, so I can look down inside of the power supply and see that's lit. So if that's lit and I have no power going to nothing, then I know I've got a problem somewhere with power going to the radio stuff. I do know there's juice getting through the board and stuff. That's all it was, to make sure to show you it was working. I have to block these in yet. I don't know if I'm going to take the time to cut out some metal, fancy and all that work, or just take some real stiff cardboard. We don't want air sucking through here. We want it sucking through the sides, because it vents the top and the bottom. So we don't want any air pulling through here. It's not going to cool that inside there. You're just pulling air in here and out there. So these will be blocked off. I may cut some plexiglass just for the fun of it and put it here. Well, you can look down inside there, which you're never going to see inside of it anyway. Okay, and then the next view you'll see is the front of the power supply. That's enough of the back. I think we covered everything, what all this stuff's for. I may add a few more switches here and there or something. I may put a switch in here that disconnects this. But I've got so much stuff hooked up, I know I'm going to probably have a couple dedicated radios hooked to the back of this, because I've had like a spaghetti of wiring on the other power supply. I never had enough to hook in there. Even if you use those little whatever banana plugs, you shouldn't be doing that, put too much. The more crap you put on there, the more trouble you're going to have. So I'll probably have my dedicated radio hooked here. Or I may extend this and make a block up on my shelf on the wood on a piece of plexiglass or something. So I have a little spot when I'm working on a radio so I can get 12 volts. Something to quit hooking too many things to the front. But off to the front of the power supply. That'll be the next view. Okay, I got a little bit of glare in here. This thing's darker gray. There, that's more natural when I get like this. It's more natural what the color looks like if I'm sitting here. Here's the front. Okay, these holes are already in here. I had to make them a little bit smaller, which took a little bit of cobbling, but it is insulated. Make them a little bit smaller for these binding posts where the hole went through. Here's your negative, positive. Here's your voltage control right in the middle. Nice little chrome knob. Here's your speaker, the outside one. This one will run the meter, how much I want going to the meter. Here's my antenna ground. I left all this on here where it says tone, signal, intercom. This says speaker level, which is nice. This says like receiver 1 and 2, mute 1 and 2, mute receiver 2. Well, these older style on and off switches, I bought these a few years back from All Electronics in California. They do not have anymore. They did have some that was like the dual ones, dual pole, dual throw, which you can use the same use, on and off. I mean, a lot of them switches you can use them for something simple if they got a lot of pegs on them. But I think I'd seen some a few months back when I was on the internet. But these are nice. These are old school. Get up a little closer there. I'll make a little shadow. But I like those. Nice big on and off. They look nice in a dash of an old truck or something. But this speaker's gone. I put the bigger one inside there, but you can't tell. I got a nice 20-watt speaker in there. My Motorola script there. I like car stuff. That looks cool there. Kind of looks like an emblem on a car, Motorola. I might add some little sticker or something on there someday, something different. It'd be nice to have an amp meter. If there would have been room, I just about would have cut this up to put an amp meter. But it'd have to be something old looking. But at least has a meter in there where it looks good. It's kind of like steampunk, where they take old stuff and make modern stuff out of it. That's kind of was my idea. My steampunk power supply. I may call it that. I will have one video of this in use with the speaker playing to a radio, doing all that. I don't know if you can hear it here. I'll turn the voltage control down if you listen to the fan. I don't know if you can see my voltmeter back there. That voltmeter isn't really accurate on voltage, but voltage goes down, which runs about 11. I like that when I'm just listening on radios. They'll crank up just like 14.1, 14.2 on the digital meter. So that's nice. And I don't think it'll be in the way of the wiring. That's probably where I normally run it on a small radio. Not wide open. And if that fan's a little noisy, I'll just turn the fan down. I can reach back and turn the fan speed down. Because it pulls enough air. I've tested it. I did the smoke test there where it goes in the side. You got your vents in the side here. It draws more in the bottom than it does at the top. And that's with that not blocked either. So it'd be nice when I block the back of it. But there you go. The project all finished. I will have one more video with speaker and everything going and rock and roll with a radio hooked to it and all that good stuff. Kind of hard to get the natural color. I'm just using the natural light coming from my windows and my lamp up there on the desk. I put cardboard on my plate glass, doubled cardboard just in case I bumped something or dropped the tool when I was working. This has been a grungy job. This thing was off in the shed and it was full of dirt. I had to take a sponge, scrub pad, everything to wash this, wash it inside out, everything. Even the power supply I took out my other case, had set around, had dust in it. It's finally got down. Today's been a halfway clean job of finishing up soldering, putting everything together. So it's been a grungy job of bringing this back. I've scrubbed it. I put furniture polish. You can see a little gloss across there. There's scratches. There's whatever on here. I'm not going to touch it. I want to leave it like that. I want this look. I'll never paint this. I want it just the way it is. But if I had something to short that across, I would. Bear with me. So you can hear the buzzer. We'll do it just one time here. Put the camera on the light. If you hear that squeaker in there, you know something's hooked up backwards. I really shouldn't do that. But the guy that rebuilt it for me, they told me to test that once in a while. He did. He said, once in a great while, he goes, take you something. He said, even if you use like a 1 amp fuse, take you something and jump it across there, make sure it still squeals and the light comes on. So you never want to see that red light come on. Danger, warning. Sounds like the robot. Danger, danger. But that's enough for this. The last video on this will be with everything working, something playing through the speaker. And then this series will be done. I'm sure this is part 5. If I'm wrong, it'll still be in the description what number it is. But thanks for watching. I enjoyed building this stuff. I got something old school looking.